The best software engineering interviews or developer interviews in general are not the ones where you are perfect. It's actually the ones where you can bounce back and you can come back from a dead end. Would you believe it? Let me explain. In my 6 years plus career, in my 6 years of experience, I have given more than 1,000 companies interview. And in all of those different sorts of interviews, towards the later stage, the most important thing that I came to know, that I learned, is the best interview that you can give, the best impression that you can give to any interviewer is not the one where you are perfect. It's the one where you can actually come back from a dead end. What do I mean by that? Let me tell you a personal experience that actually happened with me. So it was a company where I was applying, very high salary and everything. It's all okay, that's fine. I passed the first round, which was just preliminary test, like what do you know, and introduction and that sort of stuff. Then after that, there was a technical round with coding and problem solving and all of that. Okay, those are also fine. Those are as usual. It went perfectly smooth. But then the interesting thing came in the third round. So one person only. It was the founder as well as the CTO of that company. He was interviewing me, and the one thing that he had in mind that later on I came to know is he wanted to see where I will fail, at which point I will break, and how will I come back. So how he designed the interview is he asked me a very basic question. If I'm not wrong, it was related to a parking problem. Like, let's say you have a parking garage which is infinitely long. How will you park and how will you manage that sort of problem? Okay, so very simple question, nothing too technical. But he wanted me, the questions he asked, it didn't have a technical sort of problem. It had a problem solving in case, critical thinking sort of problem, right? Where you are demanded to think logically, think critically, and design the most efficient solution. That type of question it was. So he asked me that question. I gave him the answer that came in my mind. After I gave the answer, he layered another complexity on top of my answer. So okay, if this particular bit changed, then what will happen? I gave the answer. After hearing the answer, he improvised the question and again added another layer of complexity. He kept on doing it for around half an hour, 40 minutes. Our conversation went for half an hour, 40 minutes, and so much so that he kept on adding around 15 or 16 complexities from the initial question. Okay, he kept on adding conditions, he kept on adding different restraints, different sorts of limitations, and he just wanted to see how will I react, how will I think in those critical conditions. There was a point at the end, a point came where nothing was clicking in my head. And this is what I want to convey to all of my developer friends. When this particular point comes where you have nothing in your head or you cannot come up with a direct solution, don't sit around. I was lucky that I actually didn't take it as a very nervousness, or I didn't take it as okay, I am hitting a roadblock or something like that. I just took it as a plain conversation, because from the whole interview starting towards that 40-minute mark, the one thing that I understood is this particular person, this particular interviewer is not actually trying to understand my technical in-depth capabilities. He is actually trying to understand what sort of problem I will be able to handle and where I will be asking for different sorts of direction. So when that particular point came where I was stuck and I couldn't give him an answer, I directly asked him, I thought for around 10 seconds, 20 seconds. I just asked him, please give me some time. I thought for 10 seconds, 20 seconds. And then after that, when nothing was coming in my head, not even a brute force method, I directly asked him that I'm not getting anything. Can you please help me out? What do you think should be the optimal method and all of that? And he gave me a small hint. Okay, that think in this particular direction. I took his hint, built my answer on top of it. And then again, we kept on doing this for around 15-20 minutes more, and he was satisfied by then. When I finally got that whole interview round cleared, at the end, usually there is a session, right? When interviewers give you the chance that you have something to ask. So I asked him this question, if you don't mind, then can I ask you 2 questions? And he said, okay, sure, go ahead. I asked him, the first question was, what did you think about the interview process? Like, because I got I got this impression that you were actually trying to see where my limitation was, like how far I could think. Is that the correct way? Like, I'm thinking, like, is that what you were aiming for? And the second thing is, how, like, my reaction to it was logically that, okay, I will ask you because I took this whole thing as a conversation. So do you think I could have improved there, or what sort of better approach do you think I should have taken? The answer he gave me shocked me, which is like, he mentioned clearly that he is not interested in taking people who give superficial answers. He said that you can give superficial answers, you can give answers which you don't even know, or you have maybe copied from somewhere, which you don't know the in-depth details about. If I keep on asking and giving you more conditions, you won't be able to handle those sort of situations. So I was more interested, like, this is what he mentioned, that I was more interested in knowing what is your true genuine thinking process, and when you are stuck, how will you handle that sort of situation? Because most of the candidates, most of the interviewees, what they do is they break in that situation. By break, I mean, like, they either get stuck, they get nervous, they do not ask for hints, and straightforward after that point their whole flow breaks. This is what I think is the biggest killer of any interview. And he mentioned it specifically, that not only he, but later on down the line, when I gave a lot of other interviews as well in different companies, which were really good companies and high profile companies, where I was getting really high paying job, like high paying salary, all of them gave me this single feedback, that is, after your technical round is done, after we have a general overview of, or general grasp of what you are capable of, the thing that we are trying to get, or the thing we are trying to understand, is if you are a problem solver and if you are somebody who can bounce back from any failure or not. Because that is the most critical. Even if you have average skills right now, there is a very high probability that if you have this mindset of problem solving, if you have this mindset that you don't want to get stuck, and you don't want to stay what we say that, like, shy, or like you don't hesitate to ask people for help, you will keep on learning things later on down the line as well, and that is perfectly fine. You don't have to be perfect in day one. But if you do not have this capability to keep on improving by learning from others, by asking others, then you are not going to be the best fit in our company. So that is why I wanted to say this to all of my developer friends, or to anybody who is trying to come in software engineering industry. Whenever you are stuck in an interview, it can be any sort of interview. It doesn't have to be high paying jobs only. It can be any sort of interview. Instead of taking it as a negative thing, that when you are not able to answer to a question, or when you have hit a roadblock, instead of taking it as a negative thing, take it as a point where you have the opportunity to show to the interviewer that you can learn even when you are blocked. Ask the interviewer for some help, ask the interviewer for some sort of hint, or maybe give your initial thoughts that, okay sir, I think these things are coming in my mind, but I'm not able to articulate some sort of solutions from all of these hints. Could you please help me? Could you please give me a piece of the puzzle? And I can assure you, 9 out of 10 times you will get some sort of hint. Why I said 9 out of 10 times? Because obviously there will be interviews where you will simply be unlucky, and maybe the interview is not cooperating. So that also happens. But most of the times, 9 out of 10 times, the interviewer will give you some sort of hint, and he will expect that by taking that hint, you will actually give some sort of solution. It doesn't have to be perfect. Whatever comes to your mind, if he is giving you, let's say, a hint or something like that, he's expecting, okay, how is he gonna take this hint and then keep on building on top of this particular hint? That is what he is trying to see. So that is why, don't think for perfect interview. Think about how can you come back from any sort of situation. It can be a failure, it can be a dead end, it can be something that you absolutely haven't touched in your career, but still, how will you logically come back? How will you behave in that situation? Will you get nervous? Will you be confident? Will you be cooperating? Will you be friendly? All of those things actually matter in the, and this was like 3rd round, and then after that also there was HR round. So very last rounds, where it is not mostly about your coding skills or technical skills, it is mostly about how you are as a person. What do you think? What is your thinking process? What is your problem solving approach? Those things matter a lot later on down the line. So that is why I will advise anybody, practice this skill. instead of having a question answer session, like thinking interview as a question answer session, think of it as a conversation. Take it as, okay, somebody is asking me questions, I'm gonna give him some sort of answer which is not bookish, which is not like, okay, I have copied from somewhere and given him. Bring your own touch to it, that okay, I know this thing, I have understood it, let me break it down to my own sentence, let me break it down to how I understand it. And I can assure you that is what most of the interviewers are looking for. As a senior engineer, if I am interviewing another senior engineer or junior engineer, that is what I am looking for. And I have asked this to countless other HRs, countless other senior software developers who are also taking the different sorts of interviews. I have gotten same answer 9 out of 10 times. This is my advice to all of you, and I hope after hearing this, a lot of your interviews will get better from now on. Thanks.